So, full disclosure, I am a Nabokov stan, and I am well aware that many people will not care about an author's back catalog, i.e., their not famous stuff, unless they're already stans for that author themselves. But just in case you are interested in or have heard something about any of these short novels by Vladimir Nabokov, or you're just into good ass literature, I'm going to review all of Nabby's short novels in this video. Also, by the way, I call Vladimir Nabokov Nab or Nabby or VN or sometimes Vladdy. It gives me a kick. I'm going to keep doing it. There are some other nicknames I've come up with, including Nabbykins, Nabster, and Rimidov Vokoban. So these are the 4 books I'm going to be covering in this video. I'm going to leave this info up here with some dates, general info about when they were published, and these are going to be spoiler-free reviews. I'm rating them out of 5 stars. You may be asking, where's the Enchanter? Well, he never published the Enchanter. His son did it after he died, and that means we're not going to judge a finished work in the same category as unfinished works. So let's go chronologically with Mary. I'm giving this 5 stars. Okay, before you start and say that I am biased, yes, I am a Nabokov stan, but I don't love every single one of his works. Sometimes I don't even finish them. That's how much I don't like them. So not every one of these books is going to get 5 stars, but Mary is just actually legit good. Yes, it's his first novel. Yes, it's a little bit more straightforward than his later works, but this is Nabokov. He's impressive right out of the gate. And this one is great because he doesn't know he's beautiful yet. The setting is a Berlin boarding house. The cast is an ensemble of colorful emigres, Russian emigres. There are young people, old people, men, women, noble and pitiable characters. It's really a different kind of cast than your normal Nabokov novel, and I think that's great. The images are just as alluring as later Nabokov, and the themes and the writing is classic Nab, really. The only difference here is that he's a bit less sarcastic and maybe less cruel to his characters, which to me is a plus. Honestly, I think if you've read any VN and are interested in more, this is a good book to pick up. It's got that essential VN quality to it, and it's actually good. I didn't read this for a long time because I thought it was juvenilia, and I thought the title was boring. I mean, Mary. Actually, this was the last book out of these 4 that I read, and I regret it so much because it was great. 5 stars. Okay, next book is The Eye, and this is another banger. It's 5 stars. I swear I'm not giving everything 5 stars, but this one is really good too. It's the only one of these 4 books I have in physical copy, and I think that's deserved because I like this one even more than Mary. The premise is a Russian emigre hits rock bottom and resolves to kill himself. And it is just a wild romp from there. There is everything from sophisticated parlor room conversations to seances with a conspiracy theorist in this book. It's got action, it's got dream sequences, there's something weird going on with the narrator in classic Nabokov fashion. It is just pure classic Nab. And I mean, look at this book. It is tiny, like barely 100 pages. And that's the thing that I love about these short novels. It's that they distill what is the essence of a writer, and there's no fat. It's compact, it's concise, and there's just something super cool about that. For me, I come to Nabby to see tragic comedy, fantastic turns of phrase, mind fuckery in terms of the narrator and meta narrative, and Nabby's favorite themes of consciousness, self creation, the nature of art, and that's all here in this tiny little book. So, how cool is that? Invitation to a Beheading. This one is a bit longer than the other books on this list, and it's a departure, and I'm giving it 3 stars because it's weird. Let me just first say that the writing is great. It's Nab after all, so that's a given. But the concept, the premise, the plot, what there is of it is weird. This is a book about a normal person who lives in a world that is absurd, and the people around him have decided to have him executed. This is a work of absurdism, which is essentially my problem with it. It's very similar to The Trial by Kafka. People compare Invitation to a Beheading to The Trial all the time. And it's not just similarity of plot, it's of tone. Both of those worlds are absurd. And for what it's worth, I think Invitation to a Beheading is better than The Trial, but The Trial was unfinished, so apples to oranges. I guess I just like my nab to be a little bit more grounded in reality, even if it's a distorted, subjective view of reality, reality very much in quotation marks. And I know Nab himself really liked Invitation to a Beheading. He ranked it with The Gift among the best of his Russian novels, so it deserves some attention. And it's also notable because it's just so different from the rest of his work. It's very divorced from a common reality, so much so that it can almost be read as a parable or an allegory, i.e., symbolically. And in that sense, it's very similar to The Trial. So if you like Kafka or if you like The Trial, then try this one. If you don't like Kafka or The Trial, then maybe try Ben Sinister, because I think Ben Sinister is another Nab work that tackles the same concept, the same theme, but in a less absurd way. So you should try Ben Sinister before Invitation to a Beheading. Okay, last one is Transparent Things. This is one of Vienn's last works, and it is a mixed bag. I'm giving it 4 stars. It's a real novel, not an allegory, so that's good. The thing is that this work is trying a bit too hard with the playing with the reader bit. Like there's an issue with the narrative voice here, like in a lot of VN works. But in this one, sometimes it's cool and it works well, but other times it kind of comes off like a gimmick. I guess Nab knew what he was doing. This was late in the game for him, and I could just say that I was dumb or I didn't get it. But at the end of the day, the tone of this book is a bit too clever to be tender. And I mean clever in the sense of a crossword puzzle or a cryptic crossword, where you're trying to figure out just how clever the crossword constructor is, and he knows you're trying to figure that out. I think Nab is at his best when he pairs that exceeding cleverness with something that cuts you to the quick, something that pushes a raw bruise in you or just hurts your emotions a little bit. And too much cleverness can impede the process of that tenderness. And don't get me wrong, there is tenderness galore in Transparent Things. This is a story of a guy visiting places that were significant to him in his life, and through that visitation, repeated visitation, you discover the central tragedy of his life. It's a very accomplished work. Nab's favorite themes make their reappearances. I just think it might be a little bit too accomplished. 4 stars. So there you go. I'm really glad I read all these books. I'm still going through Nabi's back catalog, reading his lesser known works. I am convinced that this guy is the greatest English language writer of all time. Yeah, I know, I said it. I told you I was a Nab stan. But even among Nab works, there are some that are better than others. Even in the stratosphere, there is a hierarchy. So The Eye and Mary are great, excellent. Transparent Things is clever. And Invitation to a Beheading is weird. If you have any thoughts about any of these books or Nabokov in general, I am happy to talk about VN until the cows come home, until Judgment Day and beyond. So leave a comment below. And I hope this video was helpful or informative. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'm Morgan.